Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Another very common question about this particular game is which characters are actually worth pulling for, right? Or for example, if I were to want to reroll, what should I be rerolling for, right? It is really important to know these things because, as you know, this is a game that actually has PvP. PvP is an actual big part of this game. No. Wait. Let me rephrase that. PvP is not a big, super important part of the game, but it's a content that is available and you can do all the time and as many times as you want to do it, right? So that's actually pretty interesting, and you will be able to know more about that in my following videos when I make my video about PvP. So don't worry, the video will be there. I'm going to be making a demonstration about which are the characters that most people use, right? How the system works and what you can get, and that's all of that, right? But yeah, PvP is just there for you to get a little bit of extra rewards, but being able to get to the top of PvP is not really that important. Keep in mind that at the time that I am recording this video, there has been announced that the game is going to receive real-time arena in the 1.5 version of the game, right? So you would actually be able to compete versus someone else, versus a friend, versus a random person, right? So again, having good characters actually matters in this game. So we're going to be speaking about those main top characters that you definitely want to have, right? So let's start with this particular setup that you can see here. I would say that these three characters here are really important, but Sion can be exchanged by like another DPS, like for example, Beatrice can for sure be exchanged for Sion, right? So the advantage that Sion has is that he's of the light element, which means that his neutral damage versus any other element he cannot miss, right? But when it comes to other characters, like for example Beatrice, if you are attacking an enemy that is of the wood element, then you have a 50% chance of missing, which would deal like pitiful damage, and you would not have a chance to apply any debuff whatsoever, right? So that's why light and dark units are so strong in the game, and that's also the reason why they are actually also more difficult to get as well, right? So I'm guessing that whenever they put any light and dark unit in any banner, is definitely the moment to want to pull, because those ones, once they go to the permanent banner, it may be pretty hard to get them, right? But Sion is the typical DPS that you're going to be using, right? He deals a lot of damage, and for Sion, you definitely want to have dupes. You at least want to have two. The one in the ultimate, which should be the priority, and then after that, you want the one in the passive. But there is a catch. You only want the dupe here in the passive if you have his weapon, which is a crazy weapon as well, right? So if you go here to Remementos and we look for the weapon for Sion, we can actually see the weapon fully leveled up here, right? Fully leveled up, this weapon it has 306 damage. If I'm not wrong, this is the weapon with the highest attack, base attack available in the game. And not only that, but it also gives you a shield that is equal to 50% of your attack damage for one turn at the start of combat. This means that the weapon is immediately allowing you to take advantage of the passive for Sion, which is going to increase your damage. And not only that, but it also increases the amount of shield that you are granted by 30%. That means any other shield that you get, right? And your critical damage is increased by 30%. Of course, this is, lower because that was going to be max level, max dupes, right? Without dupes, it's 15% more shields and 15% critical damage, which again is really good, right? What happens with Sion? Then his basic or his passive skill allows you that when you have a shield, right, it would grant you a shield, but the shield that it grants you is at the end of your turn, right? So, and whenever you have a shield with this character, then you are able to deal 13% more damage or 25% more damage if you have the passive on lock. So this is definitely a big part of the character. So I would recommend, if you are definitely going for the route of rolling for Sion and getting dupes for Sion, because you're going to be getting dupes in events, you can get dupes in the battle pass, you get free dupes in the what is it called? The arena. I'm going to make a video about dupes as well, just in case for people to know, right? And this dupe as well is really good because the second skill, it would deal way more damage, as you can see here. So we're speaking about almost 50% more damage, which is really insane. But in any case, the character is actually great, right? Um, Sion again is the main option that you would have for DPS, but again, as any other DPS and as in any other gacha, the DPS is the first thing that you would lose, right? It's the first thing that is going to be power crap. But then Libertas is your second option for PvP, and she is an insanely crazy character. What she does is that she attacks, and she has a 100% chance to reduce 50% percent of the turn meter of the enemy. And not only that, but it also deals more damage. And depending on how low the attack turn of the enemy is, you deal even more damage. So if you combine her with any other character that also lowers the attack gauge of the enemy, then you can do more damage with your Libertas, right? So if you're getting her as well, her weapon is not as important. I'm using her with a 4-star weapon, as you can see here. But when it comes to dupes, you definitely want this, and after that, you want this one, right? The passive. If you're going the PvP route, if you're going for PvE, then you definitely want the one on the second here, so that you can apply the defense break more often, right? Then after Libertas and Sion, that as you can see, they do a great combo. Not only because of that, but because Libertas is also a character that is super fast. Her base speed is 120, so she is really, 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 really fast. So it's a character that you definitely want to have for PvP because she's always going to be first, and then you can always just reduce the attack turn of the enemy, and then it's going to be your turn for your Sion to just destroy them and delete them out of the existence, right? Then we have Diana. Diana is not only a great character because of the way she looks like, right? But she also has insane benefits, right? There is two big reasons for you to pull for Diana. One of them is her passive that allows you to get additional turn meter whenever the enemy uses a skill that is not an attack, right? And most of the times in any composition for PvP, the enemy would always have units that would buff them in some way. Or Diana would always be there. So whenever their Diana attack, or whenever the Diana acts to use her ultimate to buff, then your Diana is going to increase the turn meter for your units. And then that way you can catch up and then cut your enemy and kill them faster, right? The other really good option about team for Diana is this here, because she will give you a buff that has a 4-turn cooldown and decreases the cost of MP, right, for 1 turn, and then increases your damage for 3 turns, right? This is different than the buff that any other buffer in the game will provide you. So it's really good because then you can bring Diana alongside Pluto, for example, that give you attack and crit rate, or alongside Stain that give you attack and defense, right? So you have an option to combine her. She's great for PvE, but she's definitely a must for PvP, right? Not only that, but she also have this skill that pushes the turn meter of the unit that you select, right? Most of the time, it's going to be the unit that has the highest attack in the team. It's going to be the one that is going to be pushed up, right, or boosted, and then you can reduce the cooldown or of their skill tree by 2 turns, making it so that you can only have to wait 1 turn with your Sion to use your ultimate again, which is a devastating attack. So these 3 particular characters, in my opinion, are the base of any effective PvE or PvP team. You can pretty much clear every single content using these 2 characters. And for the demonstration, we are going to actually do that, right? So let's go ahead and go to one of the hardest enemies here in the game, which is going to be this boss, right? And we're going to be using a combination of, let's see here. So we're going to be selecting this team, but we need to remove this, right? And we need healing, right? We cannot do this without healing. We would die if we do this without healing. So let me make sure that my healer is, yeah, she's set up. Right, she doesn't have a speed though. Oh, because I went with a lot of HP, that's why. But she's pretty low, pretty slow. I'm not sure if I want that, so I'm going to be switching this for a speed. Here, this speed set is this piece weapon is sorry. This speed piece is crazy, but I don't have anyone to put it on, so we're going to be going like this, right? And my Sion has way too much speed, so I need to swap him to attack actually. So here is my attack piece. That will be like this. I think that we actually need we need some crit rate. I'm not sure if I can run this without a healer though. So since I see that my crit rate going way too low, let me go back to my speed set. Right? So I love having a higher crit rate. And so let's go ahead. This is the last level of it, and this is one of the most important pieces of content in the game. So it's really important that we do this. Let's do a couple of them, right? In any case, as I was saying, right, these particular units are going to be working, right? You probably would want to change a couple of them for some of the specific contents of the game, but I just want to demonstrate here that they can do this without any problems, right? So we're going to be starting here by delaying the enemy, right? I don't want to use my ultimate skill here because I want to make sure that I get my shield and my buff first, because the more buff that you have on your shield, the more damage he does. Right here, I'm going to be boosting myself so that I can get the buff back faster. And here, let's go ahead and defense break the enemy. But the enemy is going to be summoning, and here is where Sion is going to be doing his damage. Boom, boom, boom. Almost everything is dead. And then my Libertas can just clear everything, right? There you go. So enemy is already taking a lot of damage. To be honest, this is the first time that I try this, but I'm pretty sure that it should work. So I'll be confident that this actually is going to work, right? Oh, I should have cleared the debuff from my other girl. So I'm going to be defense breaking the enemy again. It is about to use an attack that is going to deal a lot of damage. So I need to make sure that I am saving some of my points to be able to use them for healing. Because as you can see, I'm going pretty low on healing here. So I'm going to be using my skill 1. And should I go with the high one? Yeah, I guess it's no problem. And there you go. We are full HP again. And then here, I still don't have my ultimate, so let's go with this attack. As you can see, we are definitely doing it. We are definitely killing the enemy, right? So let's see if I can lower my cooldown here. I'm going to use this skill, defense break again. And I still don't have my buffing, attack buff skill, so I'm going to be using the second skill. I don't want to use my ultimate without the attack damage. Right, so let's go ahead and do this. Enemy is going to attack. And, okay, so now I can buff. And here, I'm just going to do a basic attack. And now ultimate. Alright, so here, you definitely want to, again, you definitely need to boost yourself so that you can get your cooldown lower. And I just want to make sure that I always have enough to use my skills. So here, I'm going to delay the enemy so that she doesn't take the turn. Or well, she actually died, so nothing to worry about there. Same thing again, delaying the enemy. And using my ultimate skill at the beginning. Actually, I needed to wait. I don't know why you used my ultimate skill there. But in any case, I did it already, right? So let's go ahead and do this so that I can get my skill back. Defense break. Going to summon. Luckily, we have the second skill that also deals AoE damage. Okay, the enemies are actually... Okay, it doesn't matter because they are not going to be able to attack. So I'm going to use this. And now I'm going to boost my Sion. What I want is my Sion to attack now and use his ultimate. That way I can just delete all of the enemies. Oh, it stuns my entire team, bro. What? Wait, what? These guys didn't die? Okay, so things are getting a little bit complicated here. So let's go ahead and go with this. I'm just going to use the defense break. Should kill the guys. I didn't apply the defense breaks to the enemy. And the enemy is going to use a massive attack here. So I want to heal up. Boom, this deals a lot of damage. Most of the time it crits as well. Now I need to make sure that I get points to be able to to buff my Diana. My Diana needs to buff. So I'm not going to heal. Probably should have heal, at least heal only Libertas there. Probably that was a mistake. Let's hope it is not. Okay, so I'm not sure if I should be boosting here. I'm not going to be boosting because the enemy is going to attack. It's going to deal a lot of damage. So I don't really want to take that hit. Let me just go ahead and heal up. I can delay the enemy here. And I don't have enough to use my ultimate, sadly. Missing the attack buff is actually really important. I really was not aware of how important the attack buff was gonna be. We need to kill the enemies because whenever the enemies are alive, the boss has higher resistance to damage. I want to defense break. Here, I'm not sure if I should be healing. Yeah, I should be healing. Okay, not a problem. Second attack. Again, this is definitely way harder than what I was thinking, right? Normally I do this way easier when you go with like fire units, right? But as you can see, it is completely doable. I mean, I'm about to do it, so it for sure works. Oh, I still don't have enough. I think the boss is going to summon here. Yep. And now I don't have the buff because I'm an idiot. Let's go ahead and do defense break plus second skill. Basic attack. Basic attack. Another defense break. I don't want those enemies to be alive for too long. And there you go. So even though that was a little bit hard, I would say that it was definitely a little bit hard. In any case, I was able to complete the content. And again, remember, this is content that is actually pretty hard, right? And I did it without bringing actual units that would be way better for these, which is going to be units that has more fire, right, on them. Right? And also I'm not bringing as a buffer that will give me more like attack percentage. Like the attack percent buff is massive and it would allow you to deal way more damage than whatever you were able to see there. But I just wanted to show that it works, right? It does work. So these units are broken. They are super strong. They can beat content even when you have the odds against you. And that's why I recommend, if you definitely want to have a strong account, at least you should be going for Libertas and Diana, right? Libertas and Diana, at least, because again, a DPS is always interchangeable. So you probably would not really need this guy, right? And the last slot, which will all depend, right, on your luck and whatever, or something else that you can get in the game. But in any case, guys, thank you so much for being here, and see you in the next one. Peace.